What if the parts of you that have felt too much your whole life were never a problem to fix, but a language your soul has been speaking all along? If you're a highly sensitive person, an empath, an old soul who's walked through some very dark nights, if you've walked through depression, anxiety, burnout, or that quiet feeling of, I don't belong here, this conversation is for you. I'm your host, Jessica Rooks, and this is Awaken Your Authentic Self, a sacred space for empaths, old souls, and truth tellers who are ready to remember who they really are beneath the conditioning, the trauma, and the masks, where we turn pain into purpose and survival into soulful living. Today, I have the honor of sitting with a woman whose journey feels like a lighthouse for so many sensitives and seekers, whose story embodies that journey. Christine Gold is a psychic medium, intuitive energy coach, old soul healer, Reiki Master, soul purpose mentor, and author of Intuition Saved My Life. For 20 years, she lived in the corporate world, burned out, bullied, homeless at times, living with addictions, anxiety, depression, and connected to narcissistic relationships. She reached a point of such deep pain that she attempted to leave this world twice. But in that darkest place, something sacred happened, a divine intervention, what she calls a spiritual 2x4 to the head, a reminder that there was never anything wrong with her. She simply wasn't living from her soul. Since then, Christine has devoted her life to guiding empaths, sensitives, and neurodivergent women, especially 40 and beyond, to transform wounds into wisdom, regulate their energy, and remember their inherent gifts. She's also the creator of the Empath's Journey Oracle deck, multiple soul-led mentorships, and the host of Heart-Led Soul-Fed, with over 300 episodes of heart-centered conversations. Christine, welcome to Awaken Your Authentic Self. I am so grateful that your soul chose to stay and that you're here with us today.
Oh, thank you, Jessica. And just listening to the intro, at first I was like, wow, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of titles. That's a lot of things. But I appreciate you reflecting them all to the audience.
Well, you're a remarkable woman who's lived a remarkable life. So yeah, let's put the credit out where it's due. Absolutely. Well, if you're ready, let's dive right in because I'm excited for this interview. Christine,
Absolutely.
if you could look back at that exact season before your spiritual 2x4 to the head, which I love that saying. I always say I had a spiritual smack. What were the subtle signs your soul was trying to get your attention that you ignored and that many empaths listening might be ignoring right now?
Uh, Doors closing, forcing them open. Um, Redirection is spiritual protection.
Yes.
Um, and doors, that means it's just not your door. Relationships ending, jobs ending, um, just a lot of little things that you just and I want to bring this up. Bad luck and good luck. I hear that a lot, especially when people. I don't know if you've heard the nail in the forehead analogy,
Yes.
where when you have a nail in the forehead, that's all you focus on.
Yes.
You don't see anything else. So, and a lot of people, when we're in that space, in that darkness, we tend to use the word bad luck or luck, period. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not really luck. It's about being open, aware, perceptive, trusting, surrender. I mean, there's a lot of things, but it just seemed to be a snowball effect. I guess that would be it. First, it starts out subtle and little, but then you get the 2x4 because they're just like, okay, I guess she just needs to learn from the school of hard knocks in order for her to go, oh, I'm paying attention.
Right. Right. Now, you've said There was never anything wrong with you. You just weren't living intuitively. For someone who feels broken by depression, anxiety, or chronic burnout, how can they begin to tell the difference between a mental health crisis and an unlived intuitive life that's actually calling them forward?
I don't believe there's a separation. Yeah, I will challenge people, and I get it. I mean, I use labels a lot to
Mm-hmm.
identify with my story, and in a way that make me feel special and unique and seen and heard, and I get that. At the beginning, I mean, we all have come from a victim mentality. Then we move into survivor. There's three stages, and then the third stage is awakened. Um, Or, as some people say, crazy. And, I say, yeah, I woke up. I'm crazy and I'm never going back. And the connection between mental health is spiritual wealth because we have not been living spiritual self first. We have been living ego self
Right.
for everyone else and adapting, shrinking, fitting in, people
People pleasing.
pleasing, martyring, perfectionism. They're
Mhm.
all connected and interconnected. And yes, there is a mental health crisis because there is a spiritual crisis. That's the connection.
I truly believe that. That is, it makes perfect sense the way you describe it. Because, like you said, it's when you're going through that, sometimes you just feel like you're going crazy. I mean, I've been through half of that stuff myself, so I truly understand that. And then when you've actually got clarity and you've got a new perspective, is when you look at it differently and go, okay, uh, that just wasn't meant for me. And that's why those things happen. That's when you lose that victim mentality. Now,
That's right. And go ahead.
no, go ahead, please.
No, and I was just going to say, you know, and the reason, and healing is a spiral. I call it a spiral.
Mhm.
And that the spiral should go up just like our ascension, just like our chakras or energy centers. We're connected to divinity. And the reason you're sitting in depression and anxiety is you're at that crossroads. You're either going to rise up, grab the golden ticket, or you're going to stay where you are, stay safe, eat snacks, stay in your cave where it's comfortable because the ego does not want you to move
Right.
forward.
It's a comfort zone.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Now, you guide empaths and old souls to transform their wounds into wisdom. Can you walk us through a specific wound from your own life, whether it be bullying, homelessness, narcissistic relationships, suicide attempts, and show how that exact wound became a core part of your medicine and your work today?
I'd say the biggest one is narcissistic relationships. People will come to me and say, I attract them like a moth to a flame. And I'm like, because you're giving off the signal. And they're like, what signal? You can call it a bat signal. You can call it whatever you want, but there's something within that you have not healed yourself, which it really truly comes from abandonment. Now, whether it was your family that abandoned you, intergenerational trauma abandonment, or you abandon yourselves when you give your power away to other people because you want to be nice, because you want to be liked, because it feels good to help others, but you're not there as a servant. You are in service. And that's where discernment comes in, and that's where boundaries come in. And self care is the root of boundaries, and boundaries are the root of self care. I have a lot of people that come to me, oh, I don't have time to take care of myself. And it's like, well, then where are you gathering your energy to serve? That's where burnout comes from. And
Right.
burnout is not just from doing too many things, it's about abandoning yourself and coming out as a warrior, because underneath all of that, we are warriors. And I'm not talking about going to war. I mean, sure, you're going to war with yourself every day and maybe with other people. But when you learn specifically with boundaries, it's a tool. And it's basically saying, this is my aura, this is my energy, and I will no longer allow you to take, to drain, to manipulate. Um, but that takes practice
Yes.
and with a pencil and not a sledgehammer. I used to use a sledgehammer, and then people would be like, whoa, she just went off. Like, what's going on over there?
Right.
When they realize you have no buttons to push anymore, that's power.
That is truly empowering. It's like you say narcissistic relationships. That was my biggest thing. I was married twice, 22 years to the first one, 9 years to the
Mm,
second, both major narcissists. When I did, my dark night, when I went through the dark night of the soul, I realized all of mine stemmed back from my father, who was one of the biggest
hmm
narcissists and quite abusive at that. So it was in the relationship after my late husband, almost 2 years in the middle of an argument where, you know how they say you go from 0 to 100?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he could do that to me in 2 seconds flat. And I remember just being at the top of my lungs. And that's where I got my spiritual smack, because it was like all of a sudden I looked at him and went, what am I doing? You're not worth it. I'm worth more. Like, where's my worth? And literally grabbed all my stuff, walked away, and never looked back. And that's when I discovered boundaries. And I mean, that was actually the beginning of my awakening. So
Mm,
I truly get it. And it's like you said, once you learn your boundaries, and like I tell everybody now, boundaries are for everyone. There's no one who's an exception to that rule. No one is worth your peace. And once you have that, like you said, that's where your superpower lies.
absolutely. And I am writing my second book all about that relationship. And really, it starts in childhood
Mm-hmm.
for the most part. Um, One decides to turn up the empathy because they can see mom and dad are not doing well. So I'm going to try and fix it
Mm-hmm.
and be good and be the peacemaker.
People pleaser, yes.
The other says, I'm out. And they all come from the same core wound. When people realize, when they hear that, they're like, no, I'm an empath, but we all have narcissistic tendencies. However, one decides, and they're actually the most wounded, the most hurt, but they do the opposite. It's self protection, self preservation.
Right. Absolutely. Now, as a medium, animal seer, and energy healer, you work with both the seen and unseen worlds. What are some of the most common messages you received from loved ones in spirit, from animals, or through the Akashic records that highly sensitive people most need to hear in this moment of collective awakening?
Their claircognizance, their body, they know that they know that they know, and they feel it. You feel people right away.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of us dismiss it, or no, as an empath, we go, oh, how can we fix them? How can we make them better? How can we? No, stop doing that. That's my first thing. No more of that. Be discerning. Yes, you can still be empathetic. However, that's where your boundaries come in. And people need to earn your trust and respect. So that, and I know a lot of people that either dream very vividly, like myself. But this is a practice. I've been doing this for many years. I record my dreams. You can call it Akashic Records. You can call it whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has different knowings and labels of things, but Music is huge. Songs. There's a lot of messages in songs and music.
Mm-hmm.
Finding dimes, finding feathers, animals showing up. Those are all signs. And animals speak an unspoken language of spirit. They are so tapped in. We all come from the earth, but animals, they are definitely tuned and attuned because they don't have an ego.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Oh my goodness, when you talk about the songs, that was one of the first ways I started receiving messages. I would wake up with, and this, I knew my grandmother was involved in this because my Spanish is horrible. And I would get songs, Spanish songs, I would wake up to. And I would have to
Hmm.
whistle or hum the song into my phone, find out what the song was, find the lyrics, translate them into English. I was like, this is your way of trying to get me to learn Spanish. But there was always the answer that I was asking for in that song. And it,
Yes, and random conversations. I always tend to overhear people's conversations, and I'm thinking, why am I listening to this? But I listen, and then it all comes back later.
mhm,
And many times we want to try and figure everything out, and that's when we actually need to let go the most.
absolutely. And I love what you said about the animals. I just recently moved October 1st from Florida, and we lived on the second floor. And there were two doves. There was one at first that always used to come, and he would just, every time I was sitting outside on my balcony working, he would just come and plant himself next to me and just sit like staring at me. And then it came where he would come and he would jump on my little desk, my balcony desk. And I was just so in awe of this. And then all of a sudden, there was a big duck who used to come around, and she would try her hardest to come land on my balcony, but then she would just stay down there. And I just started naming her Daisy. And then taking my morning walks. And I actually have a video of 5 baby ducks that started following me.
Hmm.
I said, I've
Yeah,
never
I
had this
have
issue with
animal. We have
animals.
animal encounters all every day. It's just a matter, are we paying attention?
Those to me were those were just awesome to me because that energy was just, I said, what am I giving off that has all these little animals follow? And I just wished I could communicate with them. So maybe you and I can talk about how we talk. I can do the psychic with the people. I haven't been able to do it with the animals yet.
Oh man, it's I actually have a course, an animal communication course. I actually feel it's easier to communicate with animals than it is with people.
Really?
Hmm.
I'm going to have to look into that.
Because they're honest. They'll tell you when they're upset. They'll tell you when they're happy. They'll tell you when they want to play.
Right.
They speak boundaries like like it's nothing, like it's every day.
That's true. If you're really paying attention, they will tell you, like, don't touch me, or, I want to be all over you, or.
Yeah, and I mean horses. I know a lot of people, even myself, I used to be scared of them because they possess like elephants. That's such a high auric, such a high vibration. And if you're a high vibration, they will match it. But if you're a lower vibration, they can pick that up.
Yes, I've always loved horses as well. And you speak on elephants. We're actually on our way to Thailand next. And when we get there, we have an encounter with the Karen tribe where we'll spend 2 days there in an elephant sanctuary. And I am so looking forward to this. I am so looking forward to just being there and feeding them and bathing with them. And
No, that sounds amazing. I was in Thailand in May, so I do. I did not go to see the elephants because, well, there were a couple factors, but we can talk about that later.
okay, great. Well, Christine, you now support empathic, neurodivergent women 40 plus through perimenopause, ADHD amplification, and empathic burnout. What does a neurohormonal soul-led system actually look like in real life? Could you share a day in the life or a few non-negotiable practices that help regulate mood, focus, and energy.
Hmm. How you start your day. Do you wake up with gratitude? Do you have a gratitude journal? Do you record your dreams or at least remember maybe one or two things? I feel that's really intentional. That's intentional. That really sets the tone for your day. Or do you wake up, hit, your feet hitting the floor, and I got this to-do list that's 100 items long, and oh, my phone, it's going off, it's blowing up, and I'm doom scrolling already. That will snowball into a day of complete disconnection and burnout, and maybe a little bit of negativity and um, so that's really important. I, invite prayer. Any denomination, maybe you're Christian, maybe you're an atheist. It doesn't matter as long as you start with, again, gratitude, a practice. And I feel it's really important to write. I do love journaling.
Mm-hmm.
You can call it channeling. You can call it whatever you want, but it's just amazing what comes out pen to paper. And then your body is a temple. So what are you nourishing your body with movement, with stretching, with breath work? Do you have a sanctuary in your home? That's your respite. Most likely is your bedroom. And your food, the food. Are you eating mainly plant based items? Because that's what keeps your vibrational energy high. So for me, those are non negotiables. I don't eat a lot, very little sugar because I'm very sensitive to it. My heart starts racing, in fact,
Mm-hmm.
if I've had too much sugar. Caffeine, same thing. I know a lot of people who smoke or drink, and I quit both. Again, I'm not going to call out anybody that's struggling with sobriety or whatever it happens to be. Addiction is addiction. When you're ready, you'll do it, and you'll do it for yourself, not for anybody else, but for yourself. Did I quit all of these things all at once? No, it was spirit was leading me down this path of progression of dropping people, places, and things that were toxic. I feel that's, and you can find joy in daily little things. You see a butterfly, you smile at a stranger,
Mm-hmm.
you um, have no traffic while going to work, whatever it happens to be. I mean, we've got to carve out those little pieces for yourself. And I believe that's the biggest piece is taking care of yourself first. Then you're able to serve with greater purpose. So those are, yeah, some of my non-negotiables. Now, um, paying attention to people, um, whether it's family, like if someone is asking you something and you're getting a knot in your stomach, you need to pay attention to that because you're going to be practicing your boundaries a lot. And no is a complete sentence and
Mm-hmm.
does not require explanation.
I love that you say that. I say that all the time. You hear that, listeners? It's not just me. You and I have such similar paths. After that whole incident with the last narcissist, I remember going on the beach and had a conversation with the universe and said, enough is enough. I said, I know that I'm here for something greater. I said, I feel it in my bones. I'm tired of the people pleasing. I'm tired of these narcissistic relationships. I'm tired of being tired. And I said, it's time now for you, Spirit, to remove anything from my life that no longer serves me so that I can reach my highest purpose and do what it is I'm supposed to do. And like you said, I used to smoke. I used to drink. I had a caffeine habit that was ridiculous. I was a big meat eater. And within 6 months, every little thing kept falling off, falling off, falling off until within 6 months, I was an ex-drinker, ex-smoker, no caffeine, barely any sugar, and a vegetarian. And I couldn't argue
Yeah,
about any of it
it's
because I asked for it. Every time someone would fall off and I would get sick, I would go, why? Nope, can't ask. I asked you to take anything away. And if this is part of the process, then I just accept it. With trust and faith, I just kept, going through with it. So,
yeah, very similar path. Wow, that's amazing.
yes. Oh, here we go again. You spent 20 years in corporate sales and marketing. I was in a whole different thing, but suppressing your gifts. For those that are still
Mm.
in corporate or traditional careers, how can they start honoring their intuition and sensitivity without burning their entire life down overnight?
Hmm. I would say start daydreaming and connect to your inner child. I ask clients, what was your dream as a child? And I would say 70% had no idea. They don't remember. Now, that could be from something that happened trauma related. I do work with a lot of women who have had sexual abuse as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I do understand that. So it's really about dreaming and daydreaming again and getting to know who you truly are at a soul level. Like, if I could wave my magic wand, where are you? What are you being? Who is surrounding you right now? I mean, we tend to limit ourselves. Well, it's the job's secure, it's a paycheck, it's a this, it's a that. I get that. And a lot of us stay at jobs we should have left 2 years ago. Same with relationships. Um, Now, if you want to call it a side hustle, you can call it whatever you want, but start building your dreams, your business, your life, whatever that happens to be. Um, I Yeah, I follow a gentleman. Well, I mean, everyone knows who Gary Vee is. I mean, he's big, he's motivational,
Mm-hmm.
sure. But as you evolve, you definitely want to absorb people that are doing better than you.
Mm-hmm.
You want to surround yourself with people who are what you aspire to be, not people who are broken record negative,
Mm-hmm.
running in circles, in constant negativity. As you ascend and evolve, those people will naturally drop off.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a gentleman named Simon Squibb. He's out of the UK, and he walks up to people randomly and says, "What's your dream?" And you should see their face. They're like, "What? Nobody's ever asked me that." And you know what? I'm not sure.
Right.
But as he starts digging, it's amazing what comes out of them. And then he will challenge them. And that's what I like to do, is challenge people.
Right.
Hold your feet to the fire. Is this, you said you wanted to do this. Is this truly your intention? Because many of us are doing things that are based on what society thinks you should be doing.
Yes.
It's all programming, and what your parents, I hear that one a lot. Well, my
Yes.
dad said if I'm not a doctor, then I'm not in the family. That breaks my heart. I would never do that. My two grown men, I've always said, as long as you're happy,
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, just go and be who you want to be and live and love
Mm-hmm.
as hard and as fast as you can. I mean, because I'm not promised tomorrow, and every day is a gift. So
Right.
I want people to start thinking that way.
As they should. I have two grown men myself. And I remember my youngest, he came to me about, how did we, like 2, 3 years ago. And he was with his girlfriend now, which he's still with. They're very serious. And he says, Mom, what if you were never a grandmother? And I said, then I'd never be a grandmother. And he goes, it wouldn't make you sad if me or Richard, we didn't have children? And I go, I didn't bring you into this world to do what made me happy. I brought you into this world because it made me happy to have children and to raise you to be free thinkers. At that point, what you choose to do with your life, so long as you're happy, is your path, and that will make me happy. And he was like
I love
shocked
that.
because he's like, everybody's friends, or when are we going to have grandchildren? That is not my role.
Yeah, we've got to stop putting our broken dreams and aspirations and hopes and whatever on our kids. We got to stop doing that. They don't need to be in two different sports and this and this
Nope.
and this and have like a long to-do list. And where's the, I mean, the whole reason we're putting screens in kids' hands is because we've lost the idea of I'm bored.
Right.
My imagination. I mean, Albert Einstein, everybody thinks he's a scientist, but actually, he is the most attuned, tuned in creative genius, but
Hmm.
we tend to focus on the science. Anyways.
Absolutely. Well, that's one of the reasons I chose to homeschool them. I chose a virtual charter school program with them. I said, because this way everyone has different learning styles. They can be creative. They can focus in what their interests are and direct me to help them what it is that they want to learn. And I have the best children. I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I
No,
just
I wish gosh, I loathed going to school.
mhm. It was not like you said. It's something. Um, I actually did an interview with someone recently who made a very perfect point. You know, you're allowed to be homeless. You're allowed to have basically live a horrible life, but God forbid you don't send your kids to school and you can go to jail. You know, because they want everybody indoctrinated into this program that builds these children and to be what they want them to be for the future workforce. It's just horrible. Um,
Future workforce, really? Minions? Sorry, I don't subscribe to that. College, go to college if you want, but honestly, I used to work at a collection agency and we collected student loans. So I'm just going to say that right there. Like, let's all go into debt together.
exactly.
No.
Exactly. Now let's talk about your book. Intuition Saved
Hmm.
My Life is such a powerful statement. What is one story from your book that you feel most captures that title? And what can listeners borrow from that moment when they feel like they're at the edge?
Oh gosh, there's so many. Hmm. Well, definitely having a bottle of pills and a bottle of whiskey sitting there. The bottle's half empty. The pills are being contemplated. And I heard something drop, and I'm like, what is that? I happened to go into the other room, and there's a book on the floor. And I'm like, how did that book get there? So I pick up the book, and it's a Bible. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
Hmm.
Okay. So I put the Bible down with my bottle of whiskey, which was my favorite drink, um,
We have that in
and the
common too.
pills. Yeah. And I saw it as a triangle, and for some reason, shapes, sacred geometry. That's really big pieces of some of the work that I do. It's all synchronicity. It's all divination. It's all encompassing. It's a universal message. That there were 3 points to that. And at the same time, my phone beeped. So I look, oh, it's a YouTube video. I'm like, okay. And it's called You Are Intuitive, Always Have Been. I'm like,
Wow.
Okay. So I'm watching this video, and little did I know this person was going to be one of my mentors. And it was an invitation to work with her for 6 months to become a medium. But I had to record a video of myself, a 2-minute video, why I wanted to work with her. And of course, the imposter said, yeah, okay. I'm not getting on camera. Who am I? I'm not special. So
Mm.
that's probably like the biggest moment right there.
Yeah, imposter syndrome. That one will stop you. Try to stop you every single time. Now, you say that for empaths, reading people's energy is often a trauma response that later becomes a gift. How can someone discern this is my hypervigilance versus this is my genuine intuitive guidance, and then heal the trauma without losing the gift?
Um, well, it honestly, it's about practice, and that's why I love meditation and guided imagery as well, because then when you get to know your energy centers, your chakras, and a lot of people that I work with, they're like, I never see anything in my meditations. But I'm like, but that's the ego wanting to validate. I said, we've got to put that aside. And I just want you to feel
Mm-hmm.
like, what does red feel like? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? That's where we want to go. So the more that you're able to discern those different clairs, that's a big piece of it. Because a lot of us, oh, I want my third eye open, like it's some fancy, cool spiritual thing to do.
Push
Like
the
it's
button,
a
right?
trend. I don't like that word. Um, and because a lot of people get scammed that way.
Right,
And there's there's a lot of that out there.
right.
Why are there so many romance scams? Because we don't love ourselves. Anyways, that's a whole nother conversation. Um, so that, so when you pick it up, you're like, oh, where am I feeling this? Most of the time it's in the solar plexus. Sometimes you'll feel it other places. The more that you practice, you're like, okay, where is this? This is their energy. Okay. It has nothing to do with me.
Right.
Okay. So I'm going to go in cautionary with boundaries and with discernment. And the more that you practice that, and you're never going to lose your gift. In fact, I want to throw the gift out and say we all have it.
I love that.
Like maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's, intuition. I don't know. I'm going to snag that from Maybelline, but you know what I'm saying?
That was the
You
word
were
that popped
born
in my
that
head. I
way.
didn't want to say it.
Or Lady Gaga, baby, I was born this way.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. You were.
Yes, absolutely. Now, you've created communities, programs, and even an oracle deck, which I love, the empath's journey. If an empath pulled just one card from that deck today, what archetype or message do you feel would likely show up for the collective, and how could we embody that?
Hmm. Well, I actually did a solstice clearing and guided meditation yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And the card that came out was Pegasus. So we're going to connect with, highly connected and interconnected with the Fey realm. And this is an air energy, Pegasus, but also an earth energy. And it's all about spiritual development. And there's no mistake in this card that the moon is behind Pegasus, but Pegasus is also embodying the clouds and the earth. So this connection that we're all spiritually developing, rising, ascending in this collective consciousness. We are moving from the 2025 energy, which is a 9, Nines are all about wrap ups. We're wrapping things up. It's also the year of the snake, which is about spiritual healing and transformation and shedding, a lot of shedding.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're moving into the 1 year of 2026 and the year of the fire horse. And I'm super pumped about that because we all know that horses are spiritually attuned to the earth. The
Yes.
fact that Pegasus jumped out, that is a horse. It is a mythical, but I don't believe it's mythical. I believe everything is real. It's really just about belief and connection. But we are galloping into 2026 with a lot of fire. Now, that doesn't mean your list is going to be long. It means that you've done a lot of the work in 2025, and now it's time to reap the rewards.
I think everybody wants to hear that, especially those who have released so much and lost a lot, and which I keep telling people, you lost what needed to be lost. So don't even consider it
Mhm.
lost, consider it released. Because too many people are getting caught up in feeling a loss. And I'm like, you should be feeling relief.
You know, life is, we are all slowly dying. And death is not the end, actually, it's the absolute beginning.
Mm-hmm. I
And
say
I
that
pray
too.
nightly, like Deepak Chopra once said, to die well.
Oh, you give me chills. Christine is a longtime podcast host yourself with over 300 episodes. What patterns have you seen in the healing journeys of your guests and clients? What do the ones who truly transform have in common that the ones who stay stuck do not?
That they're not living in their ego, meaning it's all about me. No, actually, it's about the we the people. We're here for three things: healing, love, and forgiveness. That's it. Um, I will say early in my journey, there were a lot of people that were just there to promote themselves, and they know who they are. And they're probably still doing that because they have a core wound of not feeling enough or worthy and that they have to prove. And it kind of reminds me of, I love Hugh Jackman. He has a new movie coming out. I can't wait to see it. But The Greatest Showman,
Mm-hmm.
the reason he became the greatest showman is because he never got the love and the praise from his and the acceptance from his father. Um, so basically, what I'm saying is there are a lot of unhealed wounds and a lot of people who have not connected with their inner child, who have not reunited with them, who have not said, I'm here, I love you, I'm safe, you're amazing, let's go.
Exactly. Oh, well, Christine, thank you. Thank you so much for the courage to walk through such deep darkness and for allowing that pain to become a path that others can follow. Thank you for showing us that what we label as too sensitive, too emotional, too much is often the very doorway into our purpose. To everyone who's been listening, if Christine's words stirred something in you, if you recognized yourself in her story of burnout, anxiety, people pleasing, or feeling like you don't quite fit in, please know that you are not alone. And there is nothing wrong with you, and there never was. If your heart is saying, I want to go deeper with this, Christine has a beautiful gift for you. Harness your energy through the 7 chakras. It's an invitation to explore the real reasons behind the imbalances you're feeling in your life, how to gently unblock your chakras, and how to begin living closer to your true potential from the inside out. You can receive that by visiting sendfox.com/Christine Gold. Let it be a next loving step on your journey home to yourself. I will be sure to have this and all of Christine's links in the show description. Christine, from my soul to yours, thank you for being here and for the work that you do in this world.
And thank you for having me, and thank you for the work and the space that you hold in this world.
Thank you. I appreciate you for that. And to you, my beautiful souls listening, if this conversation felt like a blessing, you are warmly invited to support this space by subscribing, leaving a review, or sharing this episode with another empath or old soul who needs to remember their own light. It helps this medicine reach the hearts who are quietly asking for it. May you have the grace to be gentle with yourself and the courage to live from your soul, not from conditioning. I'm Jessica, and I will meet you here in the next episode.